going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another Home Arcade podcast, where today we're going to be talking about when Arcade1up just misses the mark. There's a difference between, what they give us and what we actually want. Now, sometimes they hit it out of the park. It's so great, but there's a change, there's this evolution, there's this change in the entire home arcade, and I've been following it for a very long time. I'm seeing these trends, and actually what people say is different from what they said back in 2018. There's this common theme that didn't exist in 2018. In fact, I don't even know if Arcade1up knows what they're doing, really. Now, I'm not trying to be mean, but check this out. This idea that in 2018, they knew what the market wanted. There's no way. They had no clue how big the idea that they have was gonna be. And when they started to deliver, the product, they had to change everything. They didn't know that we wanted the higher quality. They didn't know we wanted a monitor that looked great. They didn't know that we wanted more than 4 games on the cabinet. Sometimes they're regressing, but here's the idea. I have this philosophy that we have to focus on the things that we control. Think about it. What value is there on focusing on something that's outside of your control? So let's talk about that. What do you and I have control over? Well, it's the way we articulate what we want. We can't control Arcade1up. We can't control what they do. And what if the problem with Arcade1up is not that they're not listening? We know that they do listen. They've listened in the past. Maybe the problem is the way we articulate the problem. So we're going to break down some different areas where we can, and I need your help. I need your help in the comments. I need your help in the live chat to be able to articulate this right, because I don't even know if I have it right, but I'm going to try to pitch it to you in such a way that if Arcade1up hears this through this show, or you repeat it, you go repeat it on the Facebook groups, you go repeat it on Twitter, the different places. Oh, by the way, follow me on Twitter, follow me on all those places as well, because I'm there and I want to have a conversation with you here on this platform, but also on the other platforms as well. There's this new thing that we got to talk about. It's whether or not Arcade1up is a multicade. So I'm going to break that apart tonight. I'm going to destroy every idea you've ever had about Arcade1up and home arcade in one episode. And that's right, we're doing a short episode again, like we did last week, where this video here is only 10 minutes long. It is the heart and soul of the entire idea of the podcast. I'm pitching it all here in this video, and then later we're going to do a chill and chat for a good hour or so. We can sit back, we can relax, and we talk a little bit more. But this is the theme. This is the theme for tonight's show. So we got to jump right in, because I'm going to lose you. I'm losing you right now. So here's the first thing that I want to talk about. Is Arcade1up a multicade? Well, guess what? Terminator 2, it's not a multicade. To be a multicade, you have to have multiple games. Terminator 2 only has 1 game. This is the very, very first arcade cabinet from Arcade1up that's not a multicade. So let's define multicade and dive deeper into it. So there's been this debate for a long time from people that love the AtGames products, and they describe it as a multicade. So for example, when someone has an Arcade1up that they really, really love, and they want to say, I want to add more games to it, the response from the person that loves the AtGames product is, what you want is a multicade. Hold on a second. Maybe both of you are wrong. What if what we're talking about is this is a multicade that has 300 games, and everyone knows they pirate the crap out of the AtGames product. Let's not deceive anyone into thinking that's not what the product is designed for, right? They totally support it. They do that, whereas Arcade1up does not. But let's talk about it. The control deck that is on the AtGames, that's what it's all about. Because I think both products are multicades. But what people want, and in fact what people want now, is different than what they said in even 2019 or 2020. So break it down. Legends Ultimate has 300 games, but you can sideload thousands of games on it, but you're stuck with the control deck the way it is. Now, I know very few people that actually own multiple Legends Ultimate. Now, we can all be friends. I own a Legends Ultimate, and I own a whole bunch of Arcade1ups. But one of the things that I want from Arcade1up is more games on different types of cabinets. And this is something they never would have predicted. They never would have predicted this in 2018, that what we want is to fill our game room with multiple arcades. But, and this is the new thing that people have been saying the last 6 months or a year, I want each cabinet to be distinct with a different set of games on it that fit the control deck really well. Like this guy right here, he's like, Suburban Cowboy 1971, no less than 12 games. I love you. This is so true. 12 games should be the new minimum. The new minimum. Come on. We're spending so much money on these cabinets. You're going to give us 12 games? Seriously? Eventually, I'm just going to start boycotting. But here, listen, there's some people that are going to love your Terminator 2. It's their favorite movie of all time. This is the new concept that we have to talk about. The must buyers, right? That's something that I've been saying. Like the must buyers, of course you're going to buy it because T2 is your favorite thing out of everything. But what about the rest of us that T2 was cool, but what we want is a cabinet for shooting games, right? We're not going to buy one cabinet that has a million different controls on it. So what we'll do is we'll buy a cabinet that's dedicated to a certain set of controls. And we want one of them to be a light gun machine. Now, that's an interesting thing because you got the Play Choice 10. Like, that's a cool original arcade cabinet that has both a light gun and the ability to play games. So it's possible, but think about it. In your game room, how is this going to work out? And dude, there's something that I have to tell you that's super, super important. I know your guy is going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe Justin's doing this. But hold on, before we go any further, I have to say, this video is sponsored by the Manscaped. You got to pick out the Lawnmower 4.0. Seriously, the 4.0 is where it's at. And if you want to save 20%, go to manscaped.com, put in the coupon code KITS to save 20%. And yes, I promised Manscaped that I would do this every single episode for the month of December. And so I have to keep my promise that, yes, on every single podcast that I do, I'm going to talk about Manscaped because it has more lights than the freaking Tron. So you have to go check it out, especially this product because it's pretty good. It's the one they sent me, and I have to say, I was going to mod this and put my face on it and be like, hey, look, I'm on my... But anyway, we're going to get back to the main content here. I just had to make sure you knew about Manscaped's product, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. You got to check it out. But back to the music here. So... think of the Defender Arcade1up cabinet, this Arcade1up Defender Partycade. This thing, I've been playing it. Dude, I am obsessed with this machine. And it's got its problems, and we'll talk about that for a second, but this is in the theme. I need a Defender cabinet, or I need the reason, let's say it this way. The reason why the Defender Partycade is so good is because of they got it right. The control deck, they finally got it right. And these are selling out so much, and they had specials at QVC. Look, they're available right now, but dude, they know we love it because we used to be able to pick this up for $199. Now it's $242 and $15 shipping. It's because they know they got a hot product. Hopefully the prices will come down again. It's up to you whether you want to buy it. But check this out. My only real complaint about this is the Sinistar is on it. It's my favorite game on it. It's absolutely great, but it's like a vertical game. But they make it work because they have the bezels on it, and all the controls work pretty well. I mean, the game was really a 49-way game, and maybe in the future they'll come out with something that's dedicated. That would be really cool. But this is attention to detail where it's 10 games on the Partycade, right? That's really good. So the type of games on here are put together very well. But let's take a look at another one of their cabinets and talk about that. What about this Legacy Edition, the Tempest? And this is what I'm saying. I like this cab. I do have it, but I'm demanding more now. I'm demanding more from this cabinet. So it's got 12 games, but what are the complaints? What did they give us, and what did we actually want? I'm sorry to say it, but the game lineup in here is good, but what I demand is like, come on, like get it right. The screen orientation. If you're gonna do, like the shape looks good, awesome. You gave us an awesome shape. The cabinet looks beautiful, but your main game on it is Tempest, and you know, it's not a vertical screen. And I would love to have seen you come up with something where the controls are just perfect. Now, I put this one up because it's a tough one. It absolutely is a tough one because, you know, this is where it's an Atari legacy. And I think this needs to be how we articulate it. Arcade1up needs to figure out how to do the cross-publisher thing. It's falling apart. It's falling apart because, check this out. What they want to give us is a Atari cabinet. So they go to Atari and say, Atari, we're going to build you a cabinet. It's going to look so great. We're going to sell it to our audience. It's going to be so awesome. But what we want is we want a cabinet that looks a certain way, but has games on it and cross-publisher. We don't care if they're all Atari. What we care about is that the control deck is unique, and the control deck contains games that are awesome to play on that machine. Because if I'm gonna buy a different cabinet, I want that cabinet to be unique, right? So we got a couple of people chatting here. He's like, give us, Manscaped. No, hold on. Let me flip this over. So give us a Konami Legacy. Done. But when they do it, I don't want to see mixed orientation. I do not want to see compromises in the control deck. Take the time, figure it out, figure out what games are perfect for the cabinet, right? And so I have some complaints about all the different cabinets that I have, and it's like the class of 1981 is really good, but I only really like the first 6 games on it. So it's like you gave me 6 AAA titles and then 6 games that I don't even know. Like maybe there's some people out there that absolutely love the King and Balloons game, but you know, I played it for a while. I tried to get into it, but I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. It was like, I can't say that this is the best game that they could have put on a class of 1981. They could do some different games. So here's another complaint. Again, been doing this for a while. The whole idea is we need to articulate to Arcade1up what we want, right? So that, so they know, so they can deliver with what we want. Not trying to be mean or criticize, but I'm trying to make it clear and concise. So how did they fail on this cabinet? It only has 2 games. Do you know what we want? Come on in the chat. What do we want? What do we want? We want a beat-em-up cabinet. We want a beat-em-up cabinet that has a whole bunch of awesome beat-em-ups on it. But they are like, hey, Nickelodeon, we're going to build you a cabinet. We're going to build you a cabinet that we're going to sell to our customers, and they're going to love it because it only has 2 games because it's all Turtles. Sure, Turtles is awesome, but you re-released the Turtles cabinet with the other art because you're like, hey, there's some other people that want Turtles in Time artwork, but we all know the original arcade games. Okay, Papa Brad, he's saying options are good. Options are good, but it only has 2 games on it, right? Like, this is a beat-em-up cab. Like, sure, if you want to come out with a cabinet with a different artwork, but it has the same 2 games as before, but now it's online. So it's just compromise after compromise, and I want to let people know that I want to demand less compromises. If you're going to spend $700 on a cabinet, do you really want to compromise? I think they have the technology, they have the ability, they have the license. This is it. At a certain point, we're like, they have a monopoly on the great licenses. See, there we go. Brew Crew, you finally said it. We got it. Should have been Turtles with Sunset Riders at a minimum. See, listen up. Publishers, if for some reason you're watching this stupid little podcast, work with the other publishers. Come on, let us mix publishers. Because here's what I'm thinking. Like, wouldn't they sell more? Am I wrong? Yeah, maybe you got to split. Maybe you got to split the money with multiple publishers, but what if you get 2x, 3x, 4x returns? Doesn't everybody make more money? Like, I get it. These are not a license where you pay $50. They're sharing royalties, right? But again, if they're sharing royalties, won't they share the profits as well? Like, if you actually give us exactly what we want, then you're going to do a great job selling it because you're going to give what the customer demands. Let's go to the next one. Star Wars. The Star Wars Pinball, $749. Of course, this debuted at $549. This one you can tell all the problems, but in retrospect, when the pinball machine was actually being produced, we were hoping we were going to get online. We were going to get leaderboards and the ability to download more games. But what did they give us? 24-inch screen and static. Now, I've had it and I've enjoyed it, but I sit back there and I think about it. And I'm like, boy, AtGames really took, what do you call it? The bully that took the lunch? I don't know. Whatever analogy you want to use, right? They really hit it out of the park. AtGames won when it came to pinball, even though this has Zen and Star Wars, and Marvel and the Williams Tales, right? But that's not what we wanted. Think about it. When the mod and the hack came out that allows you to sideload games from other pinball machines, what did people do? Some people sold their other pinballs. Why? Because they basically, do you have room? There's few people that actually have room for multiple pinballs, and that's what's weird. It's what's weird about Arcade1up, right? The Arcade1up actually thought that like everybody is going to buy like 3 pinball machines. What we wanted was a pinball machine that that we could download more games on, right? From Zen legally. We'll pay more. We'll pay more. It's fine. Sell us, okay, pinball machine for $1,000 with a 32-inch screen, 1080p, and the ability to download more games. Give us that. Now, you did pretty good, but now in retrospect, since we see what the competition has, you got a tough competition, and hopefully this is what we're going to see in 2022. Look at the whole thing. Can they do better? They're in a way doing better, but not perfectly. Manscaped, you got to go check them out. The Defender cab is signs that they're doing better, but I want to see that on the 3/4 scale or the Pro line that's coming next year, right? Atari Legacy, Tempest, it's kind of there, but less compromises, right? TMNT should have been a cab with tons of beat 'em up games on it. 10, 12, 20 games would have been spectacular. Pinball machine should have been with Wi-Fi, leaderboard, 32-inch screen. That's what we want, but that's not what we got. Or at least now that's what we want. Are you going to give it to us next year? And finally, Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer is an interesting one, $700. And it's a cabinet that has a steering wheel, but it only has Namco games on it. Are you expecting me to mod this so I can add more race car games in it? I got to figure it out. Should I buy Outrun or should I buy Ridge Racer? Because I only want one race car machine in my game room. Think about it. What do you guys want? And that's the show for today. I'd love to have you come over in 10 minutes, this live stream, and there'll be a bubble here that'll take you to it. We're going to do another live stream where it's a chill and chat, and we're going to talk about this subject, and I'd love to hear from the audience exactly what they want and what they expect in 2022 from Arcade1up, what they're disappointed in with what they got, and hopefully they're getting something that they want soon. Let's give that feedback to Arcade1up and let them know what we want. So thank you so much for watching my video. And again, I'll be back in just a little bit for another chill and chat. And we'll see you guys in the next video in just a little bit. All right, see you guys.